Like it or not, it's Friday. It's a lovely Friday. It's a warm Friday. It's been so nice and so warm. You saw a mosquito the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, I think that was New Year's Eve, wasn't it? You were like, "There's a mosquito out here."
Yep.
So, it's been just lovely weather-wise. So here we are in the garage with the door open and everything else like that. And I have the light is blasting off of Sadie's car and completely blinding me.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. It's the way the sun is going. Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, it's Friday. It's Friday. It's the first mail call of 2026.
Yep.
I hope everybody's 2025 was either a good experience or one that you're glad to see in the rearview mirror, because the nice thing is no matter what you do, 2025 is over. So I was going to actually, one thing I forgot that I was going to do was do a state of the collection video.
Has it changed much?
I've added a couple of watches, but they're models that I always have, like a 6105, 8110, or something like that. If anything, I think my collection has actually kind of shrunk in the past year. I just find myself really only wearing one watch at a time for much longer and longer periods. I used to swap out watches sometimes several times a day, but I don't. I just don't do that. Like, I mean, I've been wearing, you'll see in my, you'll see what
Very
I'm wearing
soon.
in the wrist check, and I've been wearing it and wearing it and wearing it because it's so comfortable, and it's a family piece, and I don't have to worry about it, and I don't have to worry about it much. I mean, it's not like it's mint condition. It's certainly lived a long working life, so I don't know. It's just so my collection's gotten smaller, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't want to just sort of lay out the same 7 watches and be like, here I am again. But also, I mean, despite, I don't know, I haven't been on any Grail model watch hunts that I can think of for like, ooh, I really want one of those watches, and so I could add it. I don't know. We just haven't been adding watches. What are you going to do? Anyway, speaking of watches, let's talk about our watches. Okay? All right. Okay. It's time. Sabrina is wearing the red 1680 that I built her out of parts and pieces. It's a really nice watch. That came out really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pleased that you like it, and I'm glad that it does the job for you. It's probably one of the most worn gifts that I've ever given you.
I need to think about that.
I mean, you don't even wear that bangly jangly bracelet I gave you as much as you wear this thing.
Well, that's because I'm always, well, not always, but often messing with clay.
Oh yeah, that's true. Any case, I built this out of parts and pieces for her. It's genuine Rolex movement. It's an aftermarket bracelet. It's got a bunch of different stuff on it. Hands are original, crystals original, inserts original, rotating ring is aftermarket, crown is aftermarket, that kind of stuff. And I am wearing, by total coincidence, I'm wearing my great uncle's 1016. He absolutely destroyed this watch. He filled it with water, and then he left it in the back of his sock drawer for decades, and it was completely ruined. That's the original handset. It's a reprinted dial. It's the most of the original movement. All of the wheels were bad, but all the plates are still original. If I could save a part, I did. This is also an aftermarket bracelet. It should have come on a Jubilee, and I have the original Jubilee for it. It's just in really terrible condition. He was a lovely man. He just didn't take care of his things. In any case, it's such a comfortable watch, and it's so pleasant to wear, and I love the family history of it and how the story of how it came to me, and the man who owned it, he was a really nice guy. And the sort of the story, my own story of rebuilding this watch, I'm very proud of. So it's a special watch to me. Well, I hope that was both entertaining and informative.
I'm sure.
You never know. I don't know. I'm not going to find out until it happens.
It's true.
It could be a completely epic disaster or entirely boring.
Probably mildly boring because we kind of keep wearing the same watches.
I know, it's the worst. It's the worst. We're the worst. I have some.
We're the worst.
We are the worst. I have some very cool watches, but I don't know. I just can't commit to wearing some of them, you know, like my poor man's 62 MAS 5126. I forget what the rest of the casing number is, but it's such a cool watch, and it's fully serviced, and it's all ready to go. And I love that it's got basically perfect dial in hands. I think maybe I'd be more inclined to wear it if I had a bracelet that really worked on it. I think it really needs something else, like a fish scale bracelet. I think it'd look really nice if you had one with the right end links. I don't know, maybe I should dig that thing out. I think I have dug it out before and couldn't find a bracelet. Well, you know what? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Okay, well, let's do this thing.
Well, actually, I have a question for the world, as I told you. Okay, so on Instagram, I keep getting ads for do-it-yourself build-a-watch thing, and I was wondering if anybody's ever done it, and I don't know. I just was curious.
Well, people I've seen, I can't answer the question for how many people do it, but I know it's a thing. I mean, there are a lot of kits available on eBay. If you go and you type in watch kit, and you can get watch kits with any number of different movements, you know, a base Miyota movement or a Chinese chronograph movement of the Seagull 63. There are, you can get higher end kits with a Valju 7750 Swiss movement. I love Valju 7750 movements. They're just, talk about the heart of a lion. They are a great movement. Probably one of my absolute favorite Swiss movements. And they make all kinds of cases and stuff. It's one of the great things about living in this global world is you can get all this stuff for cheap. I mean, back in the day, you know, I imagine, you know, you'd have to do like a mail away. You'd have to like literally like right, like how you got the Lejour watches when they were being made in the late 70s and early 80s. They had an ad in the back of it, like a camera magazine, and you had to like mail away a coupon to get your watch. Things are a lot easier now.
I just think it's interesting because, I mean, obviously I'm more in the lady crafting type of thing, and people have been making kits forever to knit or freaking whatever. And it's just interesting to see a guy kit. I've never seen that before, so I'm just curious what it's like.
Well, the thing that you sent me, what did they say? It was like models for grown-ups, or was that what they called it?
I don't know. I sent it days ago.
Yeah, well, I believe that's what they called it, models for grown-ups. And well, my first thought was a lot of grown-ups build models. I mean, I'm building a model right now. I'm not doing it consistently, but I am building one. I don't know. It's sort of it's a real neat feeling to strap on a watch that you did yourself. It's really a great feeling of competence because, you know, watches are really intimidating to work on, and doing something is relatively, I don't even want to say uncomplicated, but as relatively few steps as assembling a watch out of a movement with hands and stuff. It's still absolutely requires just nitpicking concentration to do correctly, and especially for somebody who hasn't done one before, it can be just absolutely a harrowing experience, I'm sure. Oh man, the first time I ever pulled a balance or started working with any of that stuff, I thought I was gonna have a panic attack. I couldn't believe how small the things were. I was looking at the screw. I still can't believe I kept doing it. That's the key, folks. You just have to keep doing it. Yes, it's intimidating, but you just keep doing it. Maybe a great place to start doing it is to build your own watch with a kit.
I guess the sun really is in your face because you're in sunglasses mode a lot.
Am I? Yes, I am. Well, no, the light is beaming right off of her passenger headlight, right in it's like if I lean back a little bit, it's
well, the GT in where I am blocks it.
Yes, I know. Aren't you lucky? I don't have anything to do unless I go and put up a.
No, it's okay.
I'll live. In any case, let's do this.
Okay. A new Osaka Navigator. Watching brief 7072. Greetings from Australia to both of you. For the next mail call, I recently got my hands on a 6309-7290 Slim Turtle from Japan in pristine condition with no mods, no lume rot, no destroyed bezel, and a case that has few scratches. It has been a grail for my diver range. Are they still rare? Prices for them are not astronomical, and yet my hunt is now for a 6105 that has stalled due to the prices for a good example. 6105s are more plentiful, and yet prices are still super high. Any thoughts on this? Many thanks.
I don't know. What was I just reading about? I was reading about Omega Speedmasters, the classic moon watch. And the fact that they are like, when I bought mine's a 2007, and I bought it, and it needed a service. I bought it for $800. So this was a good number of years ago, but it needed to be fully serviced. It was not wearable. So I went through and I serviced it, and I wear that watch, and I've always thought of them as being kind of what they were then, fully serviced and like new, which was like $2,500. The same exact watch is like almost like $8,000 or $9,000 now.
Wow.
It's really, really insane how the values have gotten so high for a watch that is, relatively speaking, so common. The 6309 slim case, they only made them for a few years, the end of the 80s. They were mostly not sold in the United States, which, watches in the United States tended to maybe last a little bit better than, say, Southeast Asia and stuff like that, where they tended to work in harder environments, which were harder on them. So more of them were down in these, in those areas of the world, and as a result, they suffered terribly, far much so. And they're hard to find. They weren't made for many years. Finding a really good one is kind of an ask. But the thing is, it's not that they've never been collectible. They've sort of been they, along with the 7002s, kind of got overshadowed by the 6309 big case, and then frankly the 7S26, the SKX007 and related models that came after, which were so beautiful and such a hit with their gorgeous Sua style dial with the slightly puffed lume, and the way that looked, it came out so well, and they looked really nice, and they had important little details like having a beveled ridge around the date window, which is something the 7002 lacked and probably would have benefited it a lot from having. And while the 6309 has it, it's really, really pulled back. And so combine that with the flat printed dial and the fact that the lume is that sort of that grayish, silvery grayish lume, and they're more of a specialty piece. They don't have as wide a collector base. The 6105s, their prices, I mean, like you said, they've never not been available. From the first moment I was ever aware of them, the first time I ever saw one looking on eBay, and I was looking at that asymmetric case, and I was like, that thing's amazing, they're so cool, I don't think I'll ever get to have one. I don't even know how many of them I've owned. I'm not bragging, I'm kind of shaking my head at myself. I literally don't know how many of them I've owned.
Yeah, he's always like, I'll never get another one. Well, you don't say that anymore, really.
Because it's never true.
It's never true.
It's never true. Like, I could get anything I wanted if I really put my damn mind to it, because the world is so interconnected now. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I didn't care about paying the tariffs or anything else like that and buying from Japan, I could have a Seiko 6215 7000 on the way, like this afternoon, if I felt like it. But they sustain a higher price. People really want them. They're used as a store of value, as well as being a watch collector thing. So they get traded more like currency because they hold their value. I don't know. The thing is, it's just, frankly, just laying it out there, the 6105 is a more iconic, special watch than the 6309 slim case. As cool as the 6309 slim cases are, they're if you know, they're a real watch collector's watch. Like, it's easy for guys to want, an Omega Moon watch or a Seiko 6105. They're beautiful watches. They're classics for a reason. Something more specialized like a slim case 6309, you kind of have to know what you're talking about. You kind of got to be on the up and up. If you know, you know. That's a long answer. I hope there was an answer of some kind in there for you.
Biff Tannen BTTF, I will forever look for an Osaka Navigator. One day it will be mine. And then I have to add, oh yes, it will be mine.
Oh yes. It's hard to believe that I only know of 10 of them. It's not surprising that I only know. I mean, that
The world as far as we know.
The world, as far as we know, with the information we've been able to glean so far, has come up with 10 of them, with a possible full run of 500 for the first batch and 250 for the next. And we know, so that's 750 total, and we know so far of 10 survivors. The crazy thing is, but talking about, value and rarity, it's got to be one of the rarest, if not the rarest, Seiko production watch ever. I mean, even the solid gold Astrons are easier to find, but that doesn't necessarily translate into value. Like, what in the world is an Osaka Navigator worth? I mean, obviously, what somebody will pay for it, but
Yeah.
where do you even? I'm not planning on selling mine. If I ever do sell mine, Biff Tan and BTTF, I'll come knocking on your door first. I'll let you have first hack at it, if ever I decide to sell it. But what in the world do you even ask for the thing? I don't know. It's a mystery to me. Anybody has any ideas about what in the world an Osaka Navigator, one of the rarest Seikos, if not the rarest Seiko to exist, in terms of survivors? I mean, they've made limited editions, fewer of those, of course. But, I mean, for a regular production model, which is what those were, I don't know.
Seiko 7828703A, Mike Lindley R81. I recently found my father's old Seiko watch and discovered it is a 78287039 model that was manufactured in March 1983. My father passed away in 1989 and the watch got put in a box and stored. It was not running when I found it. I replaced the battery, but most of the functions still do not work. The three main hands do not move on their own. The 10-second sundial does function when the upper right button is pressed and resets to 0 when the bottom right button is pressed. The minute hand on the left sundial does not move but will reset to 0. The second hand on the bottom sundial twitches every second but does not move. In your opinion, can this watch be fixed and would it be worth the expense?
Yes, and yes, absolutely. What you described is actually, that's some great troubleshooting there, because you showed that basically all those registers move, or they want to move. They're not necessarily working the way they're supposed to work, but power is getting to them, and the hands are trying to move, or you can make them move. Yeah, absolutely. There's the only time one of those can't really economically be brought back is if it had a battery leak, or even worse, water intrusion. 7A28s, 7A38s, 7A48s, they're one of the greatest quartz movements ever made. They're absolutely fantastic, but they were not engineered to be waterproof. They were not engineered to deal with being wet. They rust terribly if you get water inside them. So I guess the first question is, I don't know what your watch looks like. Look at the dial and hands of your watch. Is the lume clean and white? Does it look good? Is the printing on the dial nice and bright? If so, that's a really good indicator that water never got in, because the lume on these watches reacts with water. It'll turn gray or turn black with spots, or just entirely black. It'll do all this kind of stuff. So if you've got good, clean, white lume, that's like an indicator, a water indicator that the water didn't get in there. As for, it's a collectible model. Those are one of the more high collectible models of all of the 7As. So if your cosmetics are in place, then a full service won't come, it won't cost you more to service the thing than the watch is worth, probably significantly less. But again, if you're curious, you want to send me some pictures, just send me an email to kvw@kleinvintagewatchrepair.com. That's kvw@kleinvintagewatchrepair.com, and send me some photos, and I'll give you my opinion for whatever that's worth.
For April, Seiko 6139 6002 restoration, talking time horology. I have 3 questions for mail call.
3 questions.
Okay. First one.
Or 3 questions.
What?
Should I do it the German way or the American way? German way.
Is the Seiko 6138 0049 rarer than the 0040?
No, well, not over here. Most of the time, because the 4.9s are going to be the gold dial ones. The 4.0s typically, well, no, that's not quite correct either. No, not one's not really rarer than the other. I guess over here the JDMs are going to be harder to get hold of, but not the standard ones.
Okay, next question. What is the correct bracelet for a Seiko 6139 6007?
As far as we know, as far as anything as I've ever seen, it should be the standard folded H-link, not the Stellux sort of heavy duty H-link that some of the Aussie models got, but the standard Seiko, stainless steel Japan Z bracelet.
And if possible, could you show how to install the gasket for a Seiko 6139 pusher?
Well, that's an easy question to ask. And I can. I'm going to have to go find a button and then get a seal and then set up my camera and then show how the thing is done.
You should do that in a separate video because maybe somebody just wants to see that.
Well, and I can put it in the Seiko 101. I haven't done Seiko 101 in a long time. How about that? I'll make you a separate video by itself of just me putting that gasket on.
KVW's What's in the Box?
What's in the box?
Horology crest. That 30 jewel sea lion with those indices and that type 1 crystal equals fire.
It's cool. It was neat. And that was a neat discovery to look at that and say, oh yeah, these both have that same crystal. And then to realize that one was a type 1. I've only seen... So for those of you who didn't watch that video, I bought a small 5-watch collection from a regular viewer. And 2 of the watches came and they use a version of the 320W10 GN00 crystal that is used in the 6105. One was an early 68, the other one was a little bit later, and the early 68 had an early type 1 high top crystal. And they're actually, I've only seen a few in the wild. The whole time I've done this. And the last time I saw one in the wild, it was also on a dress watch. They are...
Our neighbors are really loud.
You see, I'm not even noticing. I heard the scream and the screech.
Well, that's a baby, but sorry, I noticed.
Oh, that's okay. Well, in any case, so it's a beautiful day out, and so all the kids are out running
Except
around the
for
neighborhood.
ours.
And no, our children are not.
They're gaming.
They're gaming. They're doing gaming stuff. But anyway, those type 1s, man, they're rare. You just don't see them very often. You really, really, really don't.
Situation 0. It's amazing that you have those baby jumbo original parts. How have you acquired most of these new old stock OEM parts?
When I first got into Seiko watches, which would have been in like
2008,
yeah, something like that. When I first got into it, and I got really super crazy hyper focused on finding this treasure. I've grown up like going to junk stores and looking for treasure and digging around for stuff and hanging out in antique shops and just collecting a whole range of different stuff. And so I have very, very strong abilities to focus on collecting when I'm really, really up on something. And so I would just spend my entire evening combing through eBay, combing and cutting searches, with different search terms, all this different way, and cutting things by the sieving all the results coming back in to find buried treasure. And so for a while there wasn't a single day for years, there was not a single day when I didn't have packages coming in, auctions going off, or auctions that I've just found, and having snipes going. And I would get packages every single day. You should, and sometimes it's hard to really believe that when I look at the amount of material I have, because of course it's watch material, so it's all small. But I'm still running on most of that material that I bought all those years ago. I sometimes I think, it must all be dried up now, but you know what? I bet you there's still tons of treasure on eBay if you're willing to sit down and dig and comb. The only biggest other thing now is that there's other people doing it too. When I was first starting out, you could buy good complete watches for not a whole lot of money, and people would want this, kind of, parts and things and broken down watches and stuff from watchmakers' estates and boxes of old hands and weird watch lots with broken crap in it. People would just buy the stuff they wanted, which was already running and in good condition. I was the one who was busy scrabbling around looking for all the neat stuff. And that's where it came from, but I don't know that I can replace it.
CMB 1972. Nice job, lot. I picked up a CR220 Sea Lion a while ago and sourced the white crystal gasket from the US. Unfortunately, the gasket has shrunk over time, allowing the crystal to move when all fitted together. I don't know a fix for this. I am in Thailand for the winter and have been searching far and wide for Seiko. Found a few shops, but the condition is not as good as I find back home, probably due to the humidity and being worn unserviced for years by Thais. I'm off to Vietnam in 3 weeks and we'll see what watches I can find. Happy New Year to the Klein family.
It's a squirrel. Okay, so here's something that stood out to me. Seiko never used, as far as I know, never used a white rubber gasket. Those are natural rubber gaskets. No, they're not.
He doesn't know. He could be wrong.
I don't. Every time I've only seen those white crystal gaskets in where watches had been serviced, and in several cases it was clear it had been serviced by somebody who wasn't a Seiko person. Those are generic. Those are generic natural rubber replacements. Seiko used Viton. So what you need to do is actually get even a good condition used crystal gasket, L gasket, that's in physical good condition, will work. Seiko's guidance on those is that they're basically impervious to age. You just rinse those in alcohol, let them air dry, lightly grease them with silicone grease, and then reuse. So yeah, because the natural rubber, they shrink and they harden because they lose their volatiles, and then that's the end of it. So I'm not surprised it didn't work.
Biff Tannen BTTF. Spencer, can you comment on the Grand Seiko movements that have jeweled barrels? I believe it's the 4402 or 4420 that has a jeweled barrel on both sides, but not jeweled arbor ports. It seems to me that this still leaves room for main plate wear, just like all 6 series movements.
I wish they would. If I had to choose between having a jeweled, okay, so folks, you've got the arbor. This is the arbor. This is the thing that your mainspring barrel and mainspring turns on. It's the thing that the ratchet wheel, when your weight goes around, the ratchet wheel turns this and winds the mainspring. So this thing is always turning. It's always turning inside the barrel, which is rotating around this, and the ends, the upper and lower mainspring arbor ports, are rotating in the barrel and train bridge and the main plate. So it's always wearing. Every time the automatic goes, it's turning it, it's winding it more. I think the more important one would be the mainspring arbor ends. Those wear like crazy. Seiko almost never has jeweled barrels. I wish they did. That would be really cool. I would love to have both jeweled barrel and jeweled mainspring arbor ends, but based on what I've seen, the inside of the barrels just don't wear that heavily, which is strange because they're just brass. You think they'd wear like crazy, but they don't. But the ends do wear like crazy. I don't know. Seiko had their reasons, but I'm not sure what they were. I just wish they would have jeweled the whole thing, and then it would have saved everybody a bunch of trouble.
4SH Seiko 7002 7009 evaluation. Aaron Costello 8812.
Hey man, how are you doing, Mr. Cobra Jet?
It is getting really hard to find 7002s in original condition like this. Most of them were modded back in the 2000s and now have pink dials, ugly hands, etc.
Oh yeah, I mean,
what a time to be alive.
What a time. Well, that was the thing, is you could get all these handsets from like Yabokis and stuff like this. You would make all these crazy, and they still do all of this stuff to doll up and, make your 7002 look like a Doxa or something else like that. I still actually have a set of Yaboki's Doxa style hands for a 7002 that I ordered when we lived at the old house. I still have them brand new. I've never used them.
Wow.
I have so many bad aftermarket 7002 dials, all these just ridiculous garish colors. It was just the style at the time. You could get those watches for cheap, and you could, talking about guys buying watch kits. Before there were watch kits, you'd get yourself a 7002, and you'd get yourself some Yaboki's hands and a dial, and Doxa the heck out of your 7002. And what happened to all the original dials and hands?
Garbage.
Garbage. Anyway, Mr. Aaron Costello, it's always nice to hear from you. Thank you always for checking in.
Sold the Holy Pogue, 6139, 6002, exceptional condition. LJW55. Okay, I get that this Seiko is a yellow face 6139 model chronograph, but why does everyone insist on calling them a Pogue regardless of other features? Colonel Pogue Seiko was a 6139 6005, not 6002. Its serial number is from September 1971. Also, there is a number of differences in wording on the face dial on his watch. So again, why does everyone keep calling them a Pogue when they don't match the original watch by Colonel Pogue? I think it's because of simplicity, because that's what's known as, and then when you have the real one, it's a
True Pogue, which is what I called it. I have an ancient video on my channel, it's got to be one of the first videos I ever did. Ancient video where I talk about what is or isn't, and I decided to call it a true Pogue. Something that's like not Pogue-ish or Pogue light or sort of like a Pogue, but a true Pogue. You basically have what's actually his, and then you have everything else. When people first started calling the entire range of the 6139 6000Xs, when people first started calling those all Pogues, it bugged the hell out of me. I'm with you, but I got used to it because it has a lot of utility. I don't have to go through saying 6139 6005 or 6139 6007 or 6139 6009 notch. We can talk about all this stuff, or I can just say, oh, it's a 6139 no text blue Pogue. And for me, that's just, it talks about the case design and the general layout, and it's a good mental shorthand for me. So that's why I do it. So basically, I've given in because of laziness.
Yeah, but it's convenient.
It is convenient.
Like, you would have to be like, blue variant, silver variant, with everyone, you just say silver Pogue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on a 6139 6000 silver dialed proof marked.
What does he want? Oh, it's probably a she.
Well, not that burly. It looks healthy enough, bouncing around. Good thing Kraken's asleep.
Yeah, I know. In the house.
In the house. Kraken, did we tell you about Kraken slaughtering our front yard bunny? We had a front yard bunny. She didn't actually kill it, but she was extremely proud because she had done some serious damage to it. So I'm glad she's not out here to annoy the very healthy looking squirrel.
I would have thrown her in the house.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we finish answering that?
I don't remember.
It was about calling all...
Oh, no, I think we did.
Okay. Lagwenta. Hi, Spencer. Amazing videos. What screwdriver do you use when removing the shroud screws on the 6159 7010? I see in some videos you have a Phillips JIS, and other videos you use a flathead. Thanks from the UK.
I try to use, if I'm really on my game when I'm taking this out, I have a set of replaceable bit hand screwdrivers made by a company called WIHA, W-I-H-A. They're originally for working in binoculars. They're optics screwdrivers. They're German made. I inherited them from my dad. And I usually use the Phillips head bit with, and then I have a thick piece of like glass protector, like the watch wrap, the plastic watch wrap. I put that over the screw, and then I use this WIHA thing because they're very, very precise, and that's how I do it typically.
4BM Seiko 7828 7049 restoration. Sam Nova 450. Great job servicing the watch. Nice to see a quartz movement being worked on. Can any quartz time grapher work for any quartz watch? I have seen the Weishi Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. You know as much as me.
QT8000B quartz watch time grapher a lot.
It's whatever works is whatever works.
Weishi.
Weishi?
I bet that's how it is.
I mean, whatever works, whatever works. I mean, the thing is it's all very well and good to talk about using all these old tools and stuff. And I use my Seiko-made QT99, but really, I'm just being perverse. It's neat to use that old piece of technology and be able to adjust stuff and things like it. You know, in the old days, time graphers used to be really, really expensive, like mechanical time graphers. They were expensive and you had to really make an investment in a very specific tool. And then miniaturization came along and, you know, the cheapness of, you know, economies of scale, and all of a sudden you get a time grapher for an electric one for $250. And they work great. So I would have to assume that one of the new ones would also work great.
4MN Seiko 6139 6000 silver dial Pogue evaluation. Dr. Tixon.
Hello, Dr. Tixon.
When you said this is a Hong Kong special, I said to myself, what does that mean? Is it real or is it a fake? Should be interesting to see the service of this Seiko.
I call it that actually because I read someone else describing the layout, the style of that watch that way. And I was like, you know what? That makes good sense to me, which is that you have the watch. It's not the JDM version, it's the world version, but the day wheel language is Chinese English, which I have heard or has been said, maybe Aaron Costello can fill us in on this, he's an old school dude, he knows about it, that those watches were destined for Southeast Asia, but specifically Hong Kong. So that's, I look at them and I've thought about it, like the Bruce Lee, is his configuration of his watch is the one it's proof marked, all black dial, with the two-piece hand and a Chinese English day wheel. That is the current theory about what he would have been wearing. So, Hong Kong.
I guess I'm used to something watch-related being a special in a sarcastic way.
Well, that's because I always used to say that about certain watches that came from Southeast Asia that had been put together specifically to fool people.
Right, and so that's why I was a little confused.
Yeah, well, you know, it does have a bit of a denigratory feel to it to call it a blank special. So maybe I should call it something else. So Hong Kong variant. How about?
That's better.
I think it's a neutral term. Hong Kong variant.
4AP Seiko 61100010 Railroad Grade Pocket Watch. HD Wood Shop. I'd like to someday own a decent pocket watch. Would you recommend the Seiko?
Well, sure, of course. The great thing about these Seiko Railroad watches is that Seiko made them from They've made them from 1929 up into I believe the present day. Visually looking more or less the same. There are some small variations, but with many different movements. So absolutely, I mean, you can get like a classic throwback 6110. The classics. It's the same movement family as the 6105. They made a whole different range of movements from them. You can get the one that's hanging over my watch bench right now is the 7559 version. It's the version of the movement that is used in the Golden Tuna. So yeah, I mean, you can decide what you want and start looking. I mean, if you go to Baiyi Japan and you look at Yahoo Japan listings for those railroad watches, boy, they've got a bajillion of them. They've got a ton of them, and they've got them. You can find them with railroad markings on them and all kinds of stuff in a various range of conditions, but they tend to be pretty nice. Get yourself a nice Seiko pocket watch. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Okay, well, was that it? Okay, well, folks, thank you so much for your questions. Keep your questions coming. I read every single question that comes through, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but please keep your questions coming, and we look forward to talking to you every single week. And I don't know, that's about it. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, well, that's it. Okay, folks, we'll see you later, and the squirrel seems to be safe. I don't know where she went, but she's not here anymore.
In the tree.
Okay, bye.